New invisible sunscreens out in the market. Y'all already know we're gonna do a comparison. Hello my friends, Jetronist here. Are you tired of hearing me talk about sunscreens lately? Well, too bad, because we're gonna continue this series. Today, we are going to compare two more new sunscreens that happens to be both invisible sunscreens from Starface and from Trader Joe's, or what I like to call Trader Ho. Why? Because it's just funny that way. If you haven't seen my Starface entire collection review, I will link it here. A lot of the products, questionable. Go see it for yourself. Also, I have been reviewing other Trader Joe's beauty products here and there. I will link it here as well. Some products are amazing, and then there's some products I just want to burn it. So go find out which one. If you're familiar with face sunscreens, a lot of them are cream or lotion based, which means it can leave like a white cast or make you look a little ghostly, which is not cute at all. I'm so happy that brands are finally coming out with sunscreens that are colorless, translucent, invisible, and clear, so it can definitely fit everyone's skin tone. So starting off this comparison, let's start off with Starface. This here is the clear as day sunscreen with SPF 46. It does retail for $23.99 USD, and it does come with 1.69 fluid ounce or 50 ml. Now I have to question this. Why is this sunscreen an SPF of 46? Usually when it comes to facial sunscreens, we usually see SPF 30, 35, and 50, but not really SPF 46. Like, what makes this a shy of 4 digits from SPF 50? You get what I'm saying? The only other SPF 46 that I have seen is from Elta MD, which is so popular. If you know why it's SPF 46, let me know, because I want to educate myself. Starface does describe this sunscreen to be an invisible broad spectrum sunscreen made for acne prone skin. This powerful sunscreen gel protects, hydrate, and smooth the face without clogging the pores or leaving a white cast. It's lightweight, silky texture, and water resistant up to 80 minutes, so you can swim, sweat, or live your life freely. Here are some of the claims. It's oil-free, non-comedogenic, vegan and cruelty-free. It's fragrance and artificial dye-free. There are no parabens, phthalates, or sulfates, and it is Hawaiian compliance. Here are some of the active ingredients. As you can see, I am not going to try to pronounce it because that is too much. Looking a little closer at the ingredient, the one ingredient that I'm a little concerned of is that it does contain dimethicone. If you're not familiar with dimethicone, it's pretty much the ingredient that gives it a silky, soft, like, feeling to it. Kind of feels almost like a primer for your makeup. If there is too much in a product, it can feel a little bit too oily. We will have to see how well this is going to work on my face. To counteract that, it also has an ingredient called isodonocaine. I think that's how you pronounce it. Pretty much this ingredient helps give it a weightless, more matte feeling finish. So hopefully that's going to save the dimethicone. Onto the scent and texture. Again, this has no scent to it. So if you are sensitive to fragrance, this sunscreen is good for you. When it comes to the texture, I have to say it is very interesting. When you start pumping the product onto your hands, it goes from wet to dry instantly. It almost kind of feels like a drying oil or like a sun tanning oil, if that makes sense. After a couple seconds, it starts to feel like a silky soft primer, and then once it kind of disappears, you just don't feel anything at all. So in my opinion, it kind of feels almost like a hybrid between a moisturizer, sunscreen, and primer all in one. Moving on to Trader Joe's, this here is the Daily Facial Sunscreen with SPF 40. It does retail for $8.99 USD, and it does come with 1.7 fluid ounce or 50 ml. Now this sunscreen, I have to say, is getting a lot of hype, a lot of buzz, because a lot of people are comparing this to the famous Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen. The texture just feels almost the same as the Supergoop, but the cost is just way cheaper. Personally, I've never tried the Supergoop one, so I can't say how it feels. That is why I'm comparing it to the Starface, because they are both invisible and they're both new in the market. Onto the description, this sunscreen is to be a weightless, translucent gel sunscreen formulated for quick absorption, leaving behind a soft, silky, and matte finish. There are no greasy residue or white cast in sight. It's ideal for daily use and a great way to prime your face under makeup. Here are some of the claims. It's oil-free, fragrance-free, oxybenzone-free, great for all skin types, and water and sweat resistant up to 40 minutes. Again, here are the active ingredients. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it, so there it is. Looking a little closer to the ingredient list, this here does have dimethicone and isodonocane in it, so it really does make a great comparison to the Starface sunscreen. When it comes to scent and texture wise, this here has no smell to it, so again, if you're sensitive to fragrance, this sunscreen is meant for you. Texture wise, it honestly feels just like a primer, so if you have ever used the Smashbox Photo Ready Primer, girl, it feels just like it. I have to say though, I don't like this texture, to be honest. It does feel a little bit too oily, even though this is oil free, but because it does have dimethicone in it, it just mimics that oily feeling. We're gonna have to see how well this works for my oily skin. Hopefully I don't look like a grease ball towards the end of the video. I quickly want to mention that Trader Joe's has come out with a facial sunscreen before, and this is the Enrich Moisturizing Face Lotion with SPF 15. This item has been out in the market for a long time, and I have tried it. It's not a bad product, I would say. My only concern is that it does have an SPF of 15, which is so low. SPF 15 is literally a joke in today's world. That is why I don't really like it, but in terms of how well it wears, it's decent for what it is. I try not to waste products, so I do use this sunscreen onto my hands when I am driving, so it can get a little protection from the sun. Alright, so with all the information out of the way, let's jump into the demo now. We are up close and personal again with my bare face, and for this comparison, I'm going to apply the Starface onto my right side, and for the Trader Joe's, I'm going to apply it to my left side. Starting with the Starface. Alright, so I'm done applying the Starface on my right side, and what do you guys think? Looks like there's really nothing there. First impression wise, you definitely feel the silky and softness due to the dimethicone in the sunscreen, but after you rub it in and let it set, it really just feels really hydrating to my skin. I mean, my face doesn't feel sticky, tacky, or greasy feeling, so that is really good. Moving on to the Trader Joe, let's apply to my left side. Alright, so let's apply the Trader Joe. Alright, so I'm done applying the Trader Joe on my left side, and what do you guys think? Again, it just looks like I'm wearing nothing on my face on both sides. First impression of the Trader Joe, this one definitely feels more like a makeup primer. It really does have that silicone kind of borderline oiliness to it, even though this doesn't have any oils to it. Texture wise, this one also feels really hydrating. I don't feel any sticky, tacky, or greasy feeling, so that is good. Overall, both of them so far, they're pretty much the same. Now, because it is summertime here and I get pretty oily super fast, I'm gonna go ahead and powder my face very lightly with some translucent powder, because I know I'm probably going to look very shiny within 2 hours. Taking my trusty Fenty Beauty powder. Alright, so I'm done applying the powder onto my face. I'm gonna wear these two sunscreens for maybe about 6 hours or so. Usually I can kind of tell if I like a product within that time frame. But currently it is around 11 a.m. in the morning, and yeah, I'll be back to give you guys an update. So I'm back, and currently it is 9:55 p.m. and this is what my face looks like. What do you guys think? I do want to mention that I did go to Korean barbecue earlier, and every time I would go to Korean barbecue, my face gets so greasy, so oily and shiny and all good stuff. But I'm surprised that even just looking at the camera viewfinder and even looking in the mirror, I have to say that both sides of my face held up pretty well, especially for my oily skin. Again, I have been wearing these two sunscreens for close to 12 hours now, and it's normal for me to see a little bit dewiness, a little bit of sheen going on, but the fact that I don't look overly shiny says a lot. Oh yeah, and I didn't touch up my face or put any makeup on top of the sunscreens because I really wanted to give it a true test. Now I'm gonna go ahead and feel my face now, and to be honest, you guys, my face does feel pretty identical on both sides. I do feel a little bit of oil here, but it's nothing too crazy compared to when I'm wearing other sunscreens or just wearing nothing at all. The only place that you can definitely see shine is definitely on my forehead. Can you see it? But other than that, like, my cheek area looks pretty decent for what it is. Before we end this demo, I quickly want to blot my face just to see if there will be any oils that will seep through. So for both sides of my cheeks, this is what it looks like, and again, you can definitely tell that the Starface is a little bit more oilier than the Trader Joe's. So there we have it. Now let's just blot my forehead just to see what it looks like. Oh yeah, the forehead definitely is so oily. It is what it is. I do think for the most part, these two sunscreens are pretty good. But anyways, let me scoot back and give you guys a final thought on these two sunscreens. I'm scoot back now, and overall, between these two invisible sunscreens, which one do I prefer way better? And I have to say, the winner of this round is both. I actually like both, you guys. But if I only had to just pick one, I do think I would go with the Trader Joe's, only because of the price point. I mean, $8.99, girl, you can't get cheaper than that, okay? Starface definitely sinks in way better. To me, it just feels more like a drying oil, and then after a while, it just feels pretty hydrating. So I really like that. When it comes to the Trader Joe's, I don't like how oily it feels. However, after you kind of let it set and do its own thing, then it just feels like a moisturizer. And to be honest, it kind of feels the same as the Starface. My personal recommendations, I do think the Starface is great for all skin types, but is more beneficial if you have acne or very oily skin. When it comes to the Trader Joe's one, I definitely think this is also great for all skin type as well. It's probably more beneficial if you have normal to dry skin. If you do have oily skin, just make sure you use a little bit of powder and you'll be good to go. But for the most part, comparing the two, I definitely would go with the Trader Joe's just for the price alone. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video is very helpful for you in determining if you should buy these two products or not. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up because it will help me in the long run. And of course, I will talk to you guys soon in the next. Have a great one. Bye.